Good morning and welcome to my kitchen. It is time for episode 2. I want to share today with you 2 beautiful recipes. The first one is going to be a Genoese sponge. So it's a slightly different methodology of making a sponge. It's nice and light, aerated. It's the perfect recipe to carry beautiful seasonal British flavours. And we're going blackberries and apple today. So a tiered Genoese sponge with cream and with blackberry and apple jam. How does that sound, Emily?
Delicious.
So first of all, we need 8 room temperature free range eggs. Really important that they are not fridge cold. I've got 250 grams of caster sugar, and basically we now whisk until this is doubled in size. So you can see now, look, it has doubled in size. It's really light, aerated and fluffy. So that is kind of the base of a Genoese sponge, okay? So all we need to do now is add our final 2 ingredients. So it is a super easy cake to make, but you must be disciplined to follow the process, which is not my strongest point. What are you laughing at? So we've got a little bit of melted butter. Now, if you want the recipe, and it is important to follow the recipe, go scan the QR code along the bottom. It will take you to masterclass.co and you will find the recipe there. Melted butter in 50 grams, so it's not a lot. There's very little fat in this cake. And then we're just going to sieve the flour in a little bit at a time. It's very much about getting air into this cake. So obviously we've doubled the eggs by whisking them. We've got lots of air in, and then we're just giving the flour just that final little bit of help and getting plenty of air into there. And we do not mix this cake at all until everything's in. You need to make sure your oven is preheated as well.
Can you flavour a Genoese sponge?
Genoese, you can, but generally a Genoese sponge is about creating a canvas for your flavours. So we're creating a very basic cake with very minimal flavour in it to carry apple, blackberry, cream, that sort of thing. You know when you get sort of layered gâteaux and things like that, it's more about the creams and the icings and...
The cake holds it together.
Yeah, it's less about the cake.
Yeah.
And more about what you're going to serve it with. And the good thing about this is you can kind of follow the seasons. You know, you could do nice rhubarb and custard in the spring, strawberries and raspberries and blackberries in the summer, autumn apple, we're going apple and blackberry, and at Christmas you could even sort of mix some mince pie filling and some cranberry sauce and make a nice sort of fruity filling with a brandy buttercream or something like that. So once you get the recipe, master it, you can make it all the time with lots of different things. So, last little bit of flour there. And it's quite important that we then move to a metal spoon. Certainly don't want a wooden spoon because we want to cut this flour in, okay? So if I show you, can we go overhead, Emily, so I can show very much the technique. It's about turning it over and incorporating the flour in. So it's plain flour as well that's in here. So the rise is very much from the eggs. Okay? Really, really gentle.
So what would, if you missed out a step or you didn't do a step properly, what would the texture be like if it...
It'd just be a disaster.
Be like
high risk, high return, this cake.
Is it a bit like, would it be like flat, like a pancake type?
It really, you've got the air in and you've got to now protect the air with it. There's a bit of jeopardy in this one. Good for Bake Off. Bit of Genoese. If you're listening, Paul. And Prue? Yeah. Paul and Prue, isn't it? Yes, these days. I have actually met Paul a few times. He's good fun. And I have sat and had a cup of tea with Mary Berry in the green room as well at BBC Good Food Show. So I have. And when I did Britain's Best Baker with Mitch Turner, she would always talk about Genoese sponges. She sort of prided herself on them. And if she was being mean, she'd sort of set the bakers on with a Genoese sponge, because she was the cake expert on our show. So, there we go. Can you see that, Emily? It is mixed, and the air bubbles are still in there, okay? So, really, really important. Now, I've got 20 centimetre sandwich tins here. It's important that you bake this in 2 identical tins. This is not a cake for baking and cutting through the middle and doing it that way. It is very much about making identical. Now, when I test baked this, I put 250 grams in each one, and that's a 20 centimetre tin. Okay? So in that one goes. And I've got enough to make a third one as well. Okay? But I'm going to bake these 2 first, and then we will cut back in a minute to the ones that are cooked. Okay, so here are some cakes I made earlier, and I've just trimmed the tops so that they are lovely. Now, what I am going to do is, I've got some lemon juice and some honey. All right, so I want the acidity of the lemon to cut through, but obviously you don't want to just put lemon juice straight onto it, it'll go soggy and not very nice. So I've just equaled it out with a little bit of honey, and then I'm just going to do that, just a little bit, and I promise you it will make all the difference. And what I really want to do with this series is show you how both me and Masterclass can help you take your baking from one level to the next, to make sure that it is not only built on a foundation of a solid recipe, but then we start to play with flavours and help you elevate it and make it truly amazing and really get that kind of kitchen victory going, really, so you've nailed it basically, and you know you have. So, there we go. A little bit of lemon and honey, what a beautiful combination. Anyway, so there's a little tip for you there. Now, apples, Blackberry. Couldn't be more British, could it really? So, you know we're going to have to try and get this in one go, don't you?
Yep.
It's my thing.
It's your thing.
It's my thing. So, I like to use a Bramley on this, and I'll tell you why. Because a Bramley apple breaks down and dissolves almost. It doesn't hold its shape like, say, a Granny Smith or a Pink Lady or a Braeburn or something like that. Oh, I didn't do it. Too busy talking.
Oh.
How disappointing. Anyway, so we're using a Bramley apple, and they are probably the cheapest apples, actually. Here's Pip. She heard an apple peeler. Hey, Pip.
It might be an unpopular opinion, but not lots of it. I quite like Bramley apple raw.
Gives you a poorly tummy. Give you a bellyache, as they say.
I am a little bit. I always just pinch the little odds and ends when I'm baking with them.
Not sure what Pip would think of a Bramley. Ooh. So sometimes they're a bit gnarly and they're not a pretty apple. So we'll just get rid of these little brown bits. We don't need to worry about them easily. And what you find with a Bramley apple, or a cooker, some people call them, is they're really sour. And that balances out the blackberries and the sugar. And I live in the Lake District, and blackberries are looking good this year, I must say. There's tons of them out there.
Have you noticed that they started coming through a little bit?
Yeah, just starting. They tend to end of August and then cruising into September. So it depends where you live in the UK. Perhaps in the south, they might be already ready right in the middle of August, to be honest, because, you know, it's been warm, hasn't it, this summer? But I'm not.
See them start, like the green ones, they're starting to come through before the colour.
Yeah,
up here.
They're starting to turn, and they'll be ready soon. But these are good ones. So, with your apples, let's just get rid of this. Pip, you're not having that because it's a bit manky. That bit. So, speed up the process. I'm going to cut them quite small. All right, and they will cook what I don't want to do is cook this right down till it's sort of sickly sweet and really jammy. I want the apples to break down and be sort of textured really, and give it a sort of a richness and a sort of, give it viscosity. That's the word, isn't it?
That's a good
You like that word?
You're full of the big words today.
I know. That's what happens when you go on holiday, you read. There we go. I can't spell viscosity, so I shouldn't use it, should I, Emily?
No.
Emily and I have a saying in the office, if you can't spell it, you can't use it.
You can't spell it,
So it kind of limits us quite a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, quite a lot.
So, now if you have any questions as well about today's recipes or any kitchen question, please do post it in the message and the comments below, and I will help try and answer it as best I can. And do me a favour, please share this video with all your friends and family and help the channel grow. So we're going to be broadcasting on, we're now broadcasting on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And you can also now download my app, Peter Sidwell's Kitchen, from the App Store, Google or Apple, and it will give you all the TV programs, recipes, our shop, and it means I can send you a notification to let you know when the next program is about to go live. So if you want that, download it in the App Store, Peter Sidwell's Kitchen. Okay, so let's get the heat on. And I'm not really going to stir this much, okay? I'm just going to let it all kind of melt and blend together. Right, okay, so the apple has cooked down now. Now, let me talk to you about these. These are Masterclass stainless steel storage containers. Absolutely brilliant, these. I've got a drawer full of them. I use them all the time for leftovers, for storing in the fridge. They actually go in the microwave. They're stainless steel. Now, we were a little skeptical, weren't we, when they arrived?
Yeah.
We were like looking at the back and it was like, well, they go in the oven, the freezer, the microwave. They've got a coating on them. On social media, I've been asked a few times about these. Why can they go in the microwave when they're stainless steel? They have a special coating on them, so you can use them for storing stuff, freezer, microwave, straight in the oven. Absolutely brilliant. You need to get yourself some. Go to cookserveandenjoy.com and you'll find the shop there. You find all the Masterclass stuff there. It's brilliant. So, I have got some already made, but I'm just... Blackberries are one of those things, if you're out there and you're picking them, you're going to get loads. So these are perfect for that. So make more than you need. Make blackberry gin, blackberry cordial. You can make blackberry jam, chutney. I've got an episode coming where I'm going to show you how to make the most amazing pork pies with a blackberry apple and cider chutney. So good. Can't wait for that one. Right. So that is going to go into the freezer for another day. And then I am going to bring out the one that I made earlier. So I've got one here already. Let me show you. So you can see it's all cooked down. And this is why we use Bramley apples, because it's now got this lovely thick, jammy texture. And when you're putting it into a cake, that's what you need. Okay, so it's time to build the cake, Emily. Right, so first layer. Don't forget, we've got a little bit of lemon juice and we've got a little bit of honey on the bottom there. I have got some double cream that I have whipped. So we go on there with the first bit. There we go. Now, if you didn't want, obviously it's got cream on it, which means it needs to be fridged. So if you wanted to use buttercream, you could. No problem at all. On with our fruit. Whoa, look at that. Lovely. So we've now got a lovely Genoese sponge, which is holding lemon juice, honey, cream, blackberry and apple jam. Sounds good. My mother and father-in-law are going to be very happy with their son-in-law when they come around for tea tonight. So a little squash. I told them I was worth it. Right. Cream again. I think cream is the right thing to start with, because what you can do is sort of push it to the edges and make a little well in the middle for the fruit. See, there's method in my madness, Emily.
There definitely is. It's definitely madness, but...
Yeah. There we go. Decent amount on that one.
Lovely colour, like contrast as well.
Yeah.
The cream.
And you get that sort of acidity as well from the apples and the blackberries. Right, on with the top. There we go. And then I'm just going to get some icing sugar. In fact, it's this way. And let's ice the top. So, ice the top, and there we go. So there you go, that is how you make the most delicious Genoese sponge cake sandwiched together with double cream and blackberry and apple. If you want the recipe, scan the QR code along the bottom. It'll take you to masterclass.co. You can get it there. You've got to bake this cake. Right, now it's time to make the most delicious lemon, sesame seed, black sesame seed, and avocado oil cookies. A little bit different, but absolutely delicious. We tried these, didn't we? When we tested out and we started writing the series, I made these cookies and I popped them in the jar on the shelf, and they were very much enjoyed by the team. So I thought, yep, that's a good sign. So it's a different recipe. It's made in a slightly different way, and I'm sure you can adapt it and change the flavor profiles. Sesame seeds, if you can't get black, use normal, you know, or you could use poppy seeds or pumpkin seeds, whatever really. But it's just that different methodology. So I've got some softened butter, very soft. It's warm in the studio kitchen today. So that's going to go in there. Then I've got some granulated sugar. That's going to go in there. Then we are going to blend our dry ingredients. Now, I've got my plain flour. And then I've got some polenta, which is like ground corn. Okay, it gives it a lovely yellowy colour. And a bit more crunch. I've got some bicarbonate of soda, half a teaspoon in there. And I've got my black sesame seeds. And like I said, you could use poppy seeds, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds. It doesn't really matter.
And would it just be the same weight, just in whatever?
Yeah, and to be honest, the weight and the amount of seeds isn't really going to change the dynamic of the recipe massively. So you can kind of do what you do as you please, really. So I'm just going to blend my dry together. It's a wet and dry method, this. So you mix all the dry in one bowl, and then you mix the wet in the other, put them all together, and boom, you've got some cookies. They're easy to make. Good, something for the kids to do, you know. Works well. So, put that to one side. Now, with our electric mixer, we're just going to incorporate the butter and the sugar together. And then we're going to add the lemon zest. I do love lemon zest. I use lemons loads in my kitchen for all kinds of different things. So, just turn that up. Right, that'll do for the minute. Now in with our lemon zest. Now, for me, the best way to get all the zest off those lemons is with something like this. And this is a Masterclass grater, but it's like the fine grater, so we call them like a plane. They are brilliant for zesting all citrus. They are great for doing parmesan, for garlic, for ginger. You just whack it, grate it straight in. It's really, really good piece of kit. And if you want something like this, go to cookserveandenjoy.com. You'll get it there. Really great website. You can get all the Masterclass equipment. Okay, so we are going to zest straight in.
Could you use any other citrus fruits?
Yeah, definitely. The only thing with lemon is you get a sort of fragrance and it really cuts through, but you can use lemon, lime, orange. If you were going to do orange, I'd do orange and a lemon just to help balance it out because it can be a bit too sweet otherwise. You could use grapefruit, that would work really well. You could even use yuzu. Not as easy to say as I thought it would be. You could use yuzu. Anyway, yes, so any citrus you like would work really well. And like I say, you don't have to add the citrus. You could do them plain if you wanted to. But I just think it works really well. And that sort of fragrance cuts through all the sugar and things like that. Oh, it smells so good. Make a bit of lemonade with what's left over. Use everything. Another good way actually is to slice them. If you've done the zest and you don't need the juice, slice your lemons, freeze them and pop them in your gin and tonic on a Friday night. There you go. In with our egg. 1 medium free range egg. And then we will just mix this together. You could do this by hand as well if you wanted to. I'm just doing it with an electric mixer, a little bit quicker. That's all.
You can really smell the lemon.
It's like my new favourite toy, isn't it, this hand mixer?
Yeah.
Right, 50 mils of avocado oil, okay? Avocado oil, very good for you. Full of omega-rich oils, okay? You want 50 mils. So it's a volume weight. There we go. So in with our avocado oil. Use avocado oil before?
I've never actually.
No?
I've never.
It's nice. Do you like an avocado?
I've recently started liking them. I never used to. Until.
They're a funny texture, aren't they?
Yeah, I feel I've got to eat it with a lot of other things to be able to get the texture.
Okay, so can you see that, Emily? You can see that texture. We've almost got like just that normal, familiar creamed butter, sugar, eggs. Okay, and then in with our dry ingredients. Okay. Dead simple, this recipe. Those are the kind of recipes we like. Really nice and simple. Fold all this together. Now, what I meant to say earlier was, BBC Good Food Show is coming in November in the UK. And if you live in the UK and you fancy getting some tickets, if you like, comment and share on this video, it'll enter you into a competition. I have got 5 pairs of tickets to give away from my sponsors, Masterclass, who are going to be at the show. I'm going to be at the show on stage cooking. It will be a great few days. If you fancy joining us, like, comment and share on the video. This one and all of September and October will enter you into the competition. You need to go to BBC Good Food Show's website and check when the event's on. Make sure you can come and attend. But it'll be there. I think it's over the weekend, first weekend in November, I think. It should be good. Lots of people there cooking. I'm looking forward to getting down there, taking the show, Peter Sidwell's Kitchen, to the BBC Good Food Show and cooking right there live. It's always the best way. We haven't done it much over the past few years, but we're back. Okay. I think last time we were at BBC Good Food Show, were we not with Michelle Roux Jr., weren't we?
Yes, we were.
We were indeed.
Okay.
Right. Dough out onto the worktop, and then I'm just going to use the warmth of my hands and push it together. Okay.
So is it a bit of like a mix of like a shortbread recipe?
A little bit, yeah. It's a softer bake because of the oil, and it's about sort of. I think the reason for the oil is kind of adding some nutritional richness to it as well, which is quite nice. So all you do is just take the dough now, roll it into a little biscuit ball. If you want them all exactly the same size, my top tip would be weigh them. So get your scales out, weigh your first one. So we're 67 grams. So because I like things to be nice round numbers, we need 60 grams. I can't do 61. I've lived with my wife Emma for too long. 60 grams, okay? All of them, 60 grams means they will all be the same size, and more importantly, they will bake evenly. So we're at 76. Take a knob off. There we go. 65. Come on. 60. There we go. Now these will sit in the fridge and need to be honest. You need them to firm up a little bit, particularly if it's a warm day, before you bake them. So pop them into the fridge for maybe half an hour and then bake them. And that means they will just hold their shape and they won't spread as quickly. So I always think when you do cookies, if you can fridge them, you get a better bake than if you just do them straight away. Because if you do them straight away, it just goes like that and spreads too much too quick. Whereas where they're chilled, and they'll even freeze like this as well. So if you want to make them and put them away or bake half of them, perfect for this job. Look at that. Oh, close.
You normally bob on with your weights.
I know, I've had a week's holiday. I'm rusty. I'm rusty. I'll be back on it soon. Oh, way off. 46 grams. That's rubbish, Pete. Come on, get a grip. Right. So I've got 6 here. I'll pop these into the fridge for half an hour and then they're going into the oven. Okay? Right, my lemon and black sesame seed cookies are baked. Look at those. What do you think, Emily?
Very nice.
Smell so good. The lemon zest just really elevates once it's in the oven. It just becomes so fragrant and delicious. They've cracked lovely. And look, because of the polenta, you get that lovely yellow filling there. Have a taste of that, Emily. See what you think.
Thank you.
Absolutely delicious. They're soft, they're sweet, they're fragrant. You've got to make these. If you want the recipe for my lemon and black sesame seed cookies, scan the QR code along the bottom. It'll take you to masterclass.co and you can get it there. But thank you very much for watching and I'll see you next time.